meeting that's going to be taking place. Of course, I'm talking about Modi meeting Putin in Kremlin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to embark on a visit to Moscow. He's of course departed already. Russian President Vladimir Putin will be hosting him at the Kremlin very soon. The two leaders last met in Samarkand in Uzbekistan on the sidelines of the SCO meet in 2022. This time they will be holding restricted level talks and a wider delegation level meet as well. Both leaders are expected to keep India's special strategic partnership with Moscow in focus. Trade, investment, education and people-to-people ties are also on the agenda. Now, Prime Minister Modi and President Putin are also expected to raise the Chennai-Vladivostok corridor, the Gaganyaan mission and efforts underway to further civil nuclear energy cooperation. What is also interesting is that this is Prime Minister Modi's very first visit to Russia in the last 5 years. He was last in the country in 2019 when he had visited Vladivostok. Since then, a lot has changed. Russia imports almost 1.78 million barrels of crude oil, which makes it India's top supplier for crude oil. I beg your pardon, exports. Meanwhile, other top countries that receive oil supplies from Russia include China, Turkey, UAE and Singapore. As I was stating earlier, the Ukraine war has broken out as well. So this is of course one of the key issues that are going to be at the top of the agenda. Meanwhile, viewers, let's in fact take a look at how exactly foreign media is covering this visit. What do they have to say about this meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin? We'll keep a special focus on what exactly Western media is saying. This, of course, a headline by the Washington Post that states Indian Prime Minister Modi makes first visit to ally Russia since the start of its war on Ukraine. It states that India's Prime Minister begins a 2-day visit to Russia on Monday, his first since Moscow launched its invasion of Ukraine, a war that has complicated the relationship between the long-time allies and pushed Russia closer to India's rival China. This is what the Washington Post has had to say. They're claiming that the war has pushed Russia closer to China and away from us. Meanwhile, a Wall Street Journal also commenting, it's stating that India's Modi seeks to shore up ties with Russia and offset China's sway. Another reputed international publication bringing in the China angle as well. They've stated a trip by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Russia is aimed at reinforcing the relationship with Moscow as New Delhi strengthens ties with the US in order to counter China. So yet another article from the Western media focusing upon the implications of this visit with regards to China in particular. This time, a third article we're showing to all of you. This is from Reuters. It states, the headline states, India's Modi's Moscow summit with Putin seen key for ties in China's shadow. Yet another attempt by a Western publication to rake in China as well. It states that a visit to Russia by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi expected within days could help dispel worries that New Delhi is getting too close to the West and further away from Moscow, ceding space to China. All right, so that's all that we have for as far as the articles are concerned. Meanwhile, we also have some panelists who are joining us on the broadcast this afternoon. I'd like to welcome them. With us is Dr. Sandeep Tripathi, Foreign Affairs expert. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for taking out time speaking to us on NewsX. We're, of course, analyzing what exactly the foreign media views this bilateral talk as. Of course, we are keeping our eyes out on the restricted level talks in particular, what is going to be raised over there. But this is something very interesting. Western media, whether it is the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal or Reuters, they've all raked up China in particular. We do know that China and Russia are enjoying a close relationship, especially in the aftermath of the commencement of the Ukraine war. But do you think they're attaching too much importance to China and trying to downplay India's importance as far as our bilateral ties with Russia is concerned, and also on the same note trying to downplay India's effort in order to be a mediator between the West and Russia?
Thank you so much for having me here. First of all, I would like to say that this visit is very important for strengthening Russia-India bilateral relationship. And this annual summit is the highest institutionalized mechanism for both countries. The kind of narrative that has been played by the West media, that is, I don't agree with that kind of news. First of all, Moscow and Beijing proximity. This proximity somehow, you know, I agree that yes, war has pushed Moscow towards the Beijing, but this kind of proximity is somehow is a marriage of convenience. This no limits partnership is a marriage of convenience. And in that context, I can say that India and Russia partnership is based on the natural convergence of interest. Both Russia and India share a long-standing and time-tested relationship, and that relationship is beyond buyer and seller approach. It is beyond some speculative calculations. So it is not directed on the basis of Moscow and Beijing proximity. Yes, I do consider that there is a proximity between the Moscow and Beijing, but there is some strategic puzzle, right? The strategic puzzle with the two countries. No, Moscow does not want to become a state satellite. And there is some tension between the Moscow and Beijing in the Russian forest region, in Vladivostok region. And there is also tussle in the Central Asian region. Moscow does not want to give space in Russia's Siberian area as well as in the Eurasian area in the Central Asian region. So I can say that this kind of relation that is defined as a no limits partnership, it is somehow the marriage of convenience. But India and Russia relationship is based on a mutual convergence of interest. As third largest consumer of energy, Russia supplies a reliability of oil. At the same time, India needs a sustainability and a reliability of reliability of supply of oil, and Russia stands for that, and vice versa. India gives lots of market to the Russian oil. So that is why somehow that this kind of relationship is based on the speculative conclusion. So my take is that both country has a valid partnership, and there is no direction, there is no context of the Russian-Ukrainian war that has pushed Moscow towards Beijing. Thank you.
Indeed, and where do you expect India-Russia ties in particular to head after this meeting? We already enjoy very strong bilateral relations as far as the defense sector is concerned. We're also trying to augment our cooperation as far as bilateral trade is concerned in other sectors, including fertilizers, chemicals. There's civil nuclear energy cooperation that is also underway. Russia, of course, aiding in building further units at the Kundankulam plant in Tamil Nadu. So what else do you expect to be discussed today in the meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin?
The defense partnership is very crucial, and we know that Russia as India as the largest defense importer across the world, and Russia remains at the top defense supplier to India. Today, as of now, 36% Russia exports to Indian defense market, and there are lots of discussion that yes, India is trying to diversify its defense relationship, and somehow the Israel, France, and America, but still Russia remains as a trustworthy partnership in terms of the defense sector also. So, as you discussed that we have a 2+2 mechanism dialogue in terms of the defense. And we have seen that AK-203 rifles that has been manufactured joint venture in Amethi. So 35,000 AK rifles have been supplied to India. So this is kind of joint venture on defense relationship. And Kudankulam, we have seen the civil nuclear defense cooperation. So lots of discussion needs to be on the table. And most importantly, that Russia supports India's Make in India program, India's Atmanirbhar program. So this is somehow very important that Russia remains as a classical supporter of classical supplier of India's defense industry. That is very crucial, and at a time when we have border dispute with the China, when we have a rivalry with the Pakistan. In that context, I think this defense partnership will be continued as a trustworthy partnership with the Russia.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.